God damn, let me up. Hey guys, what's up? Dave Moore here, coming at you from a park here in sunny Akron, Ohio. I'm at the Gorge Metro Park in Akron, Ohio. I decided to come out here, work on my photography skills, try to get some good photos, and I wanted to make a video talking about a few things. This is pretty much going to be my vlog number 3, and I just kind of wanted to talk to you out here, enjoying the weather, nice and calm, relaxing. First off, sorry if there's a glare in the camera. I know there's a bad backlight situation going on here. It's midday, not the best time for filming and any of that, but I'm here, so here goes. This rock sucks, man. Ultimately, I had someone ask me about self-defense and being a civilian. You know, there's a lot of places you can research it, that you can find good info on, but they wanted to hear it from me, or he wanted to hear it from me. First, I'm going to preface this by saying civilian self-defense is a very unique topic. You've got pretty much 3 things that can happen from it. Number 1, it all works out, you're alive, and you go home at the end of the day, and everything's fine. Number 2, you get locked up in prison for 20 years for murder. And number 3, you die. So that's really not a good hand to be dealt, so to speak. But it's up to you to make sure that number 1 is the thing that happens. And kind of going back on the Zimmerman case, I don't care if you agree with it or not. I don't care if you agree with what he did or what the outcome is. I don't care. But think about it. He wasn't charged, but he ended up pretty much losing 2 or 3 years of his life because he was in court. He had to deal with all that. Think of all the money that he lost, and think of just all the mental stress that it can put on a person. So ultimately he lost, I'm going to say 3 years of his life. I don't know. But a lot of his life was lost to deal with that case. And if he'd have just stayed where he was at, he wouldn't have had to go through any of that. So like I said, whether you agree with what he did was, right or wrong, whatever, I don't care. But he could have avoided that, right? So backing off of that, because I don't want to talk about that, but self-defense is as a civilian. Ultimately, to not pussyfoot around it, you need to be very fucking sure of yourself. You need to be very sure that when you pull that trigger, and I don't mean to laugh at the topic, but you got to be very sure that when you pull that trigger, you were right. And the best way is that you were in a immediate threat. I know I'm not wording it right, but you were immediate threat, serious bodily harm or death, whatever the real legal term is. But you need to be damn sure that you are about to die, or that you are about to get really fucked up before you pull that trigger. And the best way to do that is just to train and just to know. It's not only firearms training, not only just training with your firearm, because with that you're practicing just to shoot. And self-defense isn't just shooting, it's knowing when to shoot and what you need to do. You need to make sure that, let me rephrase it. As a civilian, you are responsible for every bullet that comes out of that gun. So you need to be damn sure that your shots are accurate. You need to be damn sure that you're shooting the right person. You need to be damn sure of everything. Everything. Like I said, there's 3 outcomes. You go home, you go to prison, you die. So you need to be very sure. And I recommend maybe go and talk to a lawyer about it. Talk to a police officer about it. Things like that. Ask them what they, would look at as certain criteria. Ask them. Maybe police officers, asking them isn't the best thing. But like I said, I being that, I'm not military, not law enforcement, anything, I don't have downrange experience, so I can't tell you what it's like to shoot at somebody. But then again, military and law enforcement, self-defense, rules of engagement aren't the same as civilians. So that's why it's very important as a civilian to know that you are in the clear. And I know I'm not really covering this topic very thoroughly. I'm kind of walking around it, but I'm doing it on purpose because I am not the guy to talk to about this. There are people who are better than me. I get a lot of information from Aaron Cowan of Sage Dynamics, and It's just one of those things. Uh, I think the mental aspect of it is more important than the physical aspect of it. You need to just it, I guess what I'm really trying to say is you need to be damn sure of everything. So train yourself to be damn sure of everything. If there's a guy being shady over here, do not walk over there. Go around him. If anything is questionable, an area is questionable, just don't go there. There's no reason why you should say, oh, I'm good, I have a gun. You shouldn't, just don't go there. If you can go around it, go around it. Don't put yourselves in those situations. Just because you're carrying a gun, that doesn't mean that you're a badass right off the bat. So you need to have more of a mental aspect of it to where you just avoid that stuff. If I see a shady person or I see an area that's shady, I'm for fuck not going over there. I can tell you that. I'm just gonna walk around them or go somewhere else. Now, I know there are the times where you kind of get stuck out there, but whatever. One important thing, and this is just my opinion, like I said, I get a lot of information from other people, but what to do after a shooting. So let's assume that it was a good shoot. Your life was in danger. You were, scared of you or your family's life, and you protected yourself in whichever way that was. Now, what do you do afterwards? Well, number one, you need to be the one that calls the police. You need to call the police yourself, call 911, and tell them your name, where you were at, and what happened ultimately. The way I would word it is, hi, my name is Dave Moore. I am at la-da-da-da-da. My house was just broken into. I am armed, and I need the police here now. I feel that's better not to say, hi, my name is Dave Moore. I'm at so-and-so and so. My house was broken into. I shot 3 guys in the face. Their corpses are laying here on my floor. I wouldn't say that. But I would tell them who you are, tell them that you are legally armed, and that, obviously, one thing I didn't mention was that you felt that your life was in danger. And at that point, the police are going to come. Now they're on high alert because there was just a shooting. So you might want to tell them what you look like. Hi, my name is Dave Moore. I'm in so-and-so. My house was broken into. I am armed. I felt that my life was in danger. I have a shaved head and a beard, and I'm wearing a black shirt with the state of Ohio on it. So now they know who the good guy is. And now they know that you were probably the good guy if they can clearly see you. But remember, when the police come, you're probably going to want to have that gun holstered. That way they don't see a guy with a gun and they're on high alert. And that they don't have a bad shoot at that point. Because, put yourself in that situation. There's just a shooting and you're going to respond to it. You're for fuck sure going to be on high alert. And a lot of these police, a lot of these civilians, people they're not trained properly. So they might pull that trigger without meaning to. That's why it's up to you. That never happens to yourself. So tell them where you're at, tell them who you are, tell them that your life was in danger, and that you are legally armed. And once they get there, just listen to everything they have to say. Just do what they say. Chances are you are going to be put in cuffs, your gun is going to be taken, you're going to be put in a cruiser, and you're going to be taken to the jail. I highly doubt that it'll be so clean cut. It's like, oh, it was a good shoot. Yeah, just go back in your house. You're fine. Even though the news kind of portrays it like that sometimes, I don't think that's ever really what happens. So just understand that you're probably going to be arrested. And if there's a question about whether it was a good shoot or not, you're now going to trial. And you're either going to be let off after losing a shitload of money, or you are going to be put in jail for murder or manslaughter or whatever they deem was the appropriate charge. So it kind of goes back to that you need to really just be really more mentally prepared than anything for what can happen. You need to make sure that you know your rights, that you know that it was a good shoot. And like I said, not all of them are that clear and concise. And I know I'm rambling. I know I've kind of jumped all over, and I'm probably not making a whole lot of sense, but I'm trying to walk around the topic because I don't feel that I'm the right person to talk about this topic. It's just, you need to just know. And sometimes it might not work out for you. And, well, hopefully it does work out for you. The chance of you beating the shooting are very slim anyway. But you just got to know. And there's no way of knowing except for just being mentally prepared for it. I can talk about scenarios all the time here, but no scenario is the same. So get away from me, B. So I'm not going to talk about it. I mean, it's up to you to assess the situation and to properly articulate that your life was in serious danger. I mean, Masad Ayub, I believe, don't quote me, but he says, call your lawyer before you call the police. And you're going to need a lawyer if you're in a shooting. And you're going to lose money. That's just the way it is. Self-defense is at least for me, it's a tough topic to talk about because, I like to say, yeah, just shoot a motherfucker in the face. Then go home and wash the dishes. But, fuck. There's more to it than that. So I guess in summation, it's really just be mentally prepared and just know. Don't be trigger happy. Don't go into areas that you think are shady. Don't hang around shady people. Just watch out. Watch over your shoulder. Just watch your back. Because I know you guys probably just, this is a good example. You probably just saw that video of the guy who pulled into his garage. He had one of those tilty garages. These people come up, pull the garage open, and go in to rob him. What happened? We turned and shot them all. I don't know if he hit or whatever, but that was really quick, right? How the hell did he have that gun ready so quick? Well, part of that is just being aware. As he pulled into his garage, he probably saw those shady people standing there, and he probably thought something was up. So he got his gun out and he was ready. That's really the biggest thing. I was actually talking to my friend earlier out here in the park on the phone, and we're talking about that video, and I'm thinking, how the fuck did he have that gun out so quick? But then you think, well, he probably saw them when he pulled in. He probably thought they were shady, so he was prepared for it. And really, the way to stay out of any of these situations, having to call the police and tell them, your name and all that, getting into a shooting, the way to get out of that is just being aware. If you're aware and you see something happening, just don't go there, or be prepared for it. For instance, that guy in the garage, I don't know what the outcome of that ultimately was, but let's just say that it was a situation I was in. I would articulate and say, yes, I was driving down Main Street going north, whatever. I saw 3 shady individuals. They were standing outside of my garage, just standing there, loitering. I opened my garage and I watched them as I pulled in. I looked in my mirrors and I saw hands grab my garage door and rip it open, at which point I was already prepared with my firearm and I engaged them. Whatever, not word for word. But if you can articulate that, well, now it's on record that you saw that they were shady. You had a sense of shadiness, for lack of a better term, from these people, and then they followed through. They did an overt action towards you. And the one guy was armed, if you saw. So if you just pay attention and you can see shit, you can be prepared for it. And if you can articulate it, you're much better off. So I know this is not the best video, trust me. I actually tried to film this 3 times before, but I kept fucking it up. So I'm really not trying to, I'm not a self-defense instructor. I like to focus more on, accoutrements and using the gun, firearms manipulation. Just because I just don't feel that I'm the right person to talk to about self-defense. But my aspect on it is be prepared and just be clear and concise and just know what you're doing. Like I said, I can't tell you what's a good shoot scenario and what's not, but you just kind of have to know. You got to mentally prepare yourself. Go check out Aaron Cowan's Stage Dynamics. Go read up on some Masayub books. Just go and get advice from a lot of people. Like I said, being a civilian in the self-defense aspect is a really kind of hinky topic because, ultimately you are more liable for it. If you get into a shooting, it's just you. You are liable for everything that happens. If you're police, you have kind of the umbrella agency of lawyers and everything helping you. You've got your co-workers, police officers. Military is completely different. But if you're a civilian, it's you. It's you. You are the one that did it, not so-and-so police department. So they're coming after you legally, then they're probably going to come after you civilly. Luckily, I think in most states, if you are let off legally, like you go to trial and you're not guilty, then they cannot come after you civilly. And one other reason why I didn't really want to talk about it being a civilian is I'm in Ohio. How much time do I got left? I'm in Ohio. You might be in Alabama. You might be in Mississippi, and you might be in Arkansas. I'm in Ohio. Our laws are different. So, I mean, just think. Just because it's good in Ohio doesn't mean it's good in Florida. And the rule, oh, there's a spider. The rules of engagement here in Ohio has really strict laws. So, that's one other reason why I don't like talking about this, because each state is different. And I can tell you something here in Ohio that, yeah, you have the true man doctrine and the castle doctrine. True man doctrine means that you can be a true man and stand up for yourself. You have no responsibility to retreat, which you did before. The castle doctrine is basically your home is your castle, and it includes your car. You are allowed to protect your home from harm or from marauders or whatever. You might not have that in the state that you're in. I guarantee you California doesn't have that. New York probably doesn't have it. So Ohio is different. And self-defense really comes state by state basis. So each state is different. But I'm going to wrap this up because I know this video is getting long. And there's a spider here and I'm kind of watching. Research your laws. Know your laws, and just it's up to you to be responsible for yourself. Know your laws, know your rights, and make sure you train mentally, physically, and emotionally, of course. So I'm going to end it here, guys. Keep shooting. Gorge Metro Park, Akron, Ohio. Onboard camera mic down here by the water. 50mm lens. Pretty nice.